is our special return guest, Alphonse Faggiolo. Alphonse, good morning.
Morning.
How you doing? Good afternoon. Where you
are? Afternoon here.
you're the beautiful Eastern United States there. And so I wanted to talk and follow up from our interview last week. I got some good response. People like what you say. And I think maybe we got a little foundation laid, but we mystified people because they don't understand. Well, like I didn't. I mean, until I really got to talk with you this past year, I didn't understand a lot of the background, the foundation, why things don't work the way we've been taught, that what we believe or we thought we believed all our life is not actually what's going on. And I think the biggest shock to me, well, among many, was to find out that our governments are not really what we think they are. So can you give us a little history, foundation? What actually are the governments? What are the governments now?
Well, if you go back and look at the preamble to the federal Constitution and just read it here, it'll basically give you the roadmap of really what's going on. We, the people of the United States, meaning all 50 states, united, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for common defense, promote and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, which means ourselves and our sons and daughters, get down to generations.
Right.
Now, then it says, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Well, the United States of America is a separate corporation. So the people of the United States, remember, back then you had France, England, Spain, Mexico. So this was a young country. So what they wanted to do was get a government in place sort of to defend the people and the people's rights. So the 50 United States got together and created a government called the United States of America, which actually is a corporation that exists basically in the 10 square miles called District of Columbia. That's why the president, quote unquote, he's supposed to be the president. He's not my president, but the president, he needs approval from any governor before he goes into a state. He just can't show up in a state. That's because technically he's a foreign dignitary. He's a foreign agent. He can't just roam around the 50 states. So it all starts there, really, where the people united of the 50 states ordained and established, which means created and wrote down for posterity this Constitution for the United States of America. In other words, for this municipal corporation, this government. Because really, they're just a big municipal corporation in a way.
Okay, so, wait a minute. You're saying that the government is really not what we think it is. Now, it started out, though, didn't it start out for a while? It was a republic, constitutional republic. And somewhere around 1871, there was a major change.
What they did in 1871 is they basically took black people that were slaves and tried to instill slavery upon all of us with them. So if you read the read Amendment number 14, very key. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. Well, I don't want to really call it what it is. A citizen's really like a slave, okay? A citizen has duties and obligations to a sovereign. And a sovereign is basically like a king or a superior entity. So if you call yourself a citizen, that's why I laugh at the term when they say sovereign citizen, because a sovereign's a king. So it's like saying king slave, sovereign citizen, king slave. Makes no sense. And don't ever define yourself as a sovereign citizen. Sovereign, I mean, real true sovereign is basically God's the only true sovereign that there is. But the people were granted, at the time of the Declaration of Independence, the people were granted, they had the sovereignty of the king. So, they defeated England or Great Britain, and they had the sovereignty of the king. Now, the people back then were actually, from what I hear, very knowledgeable with law. Basically, everybody was sort of their own attorney, their own lawyer. And they, from what I heard, they sold more law books in the United States. The United States bought, the people of the United States bought more law books from Great Britain, from England, than the people in England bought. So the people over here did this whole freedom thing, and they basically learned the law. And about 1850, the federal government decided that they were going to get involved in education and start getting involved in, and they didn't just want to get involved in education for the good of their heart. They did it as basically a way to start coercing and dumbing down the people of what their true rights were.
Well, they've done a good job on that.
Oh, they did a real good job because, from the day you walk into school, you're taught the hierarchy. In other words, the teacher is the sovereign. You don't question the teacher. You don't embarrass the teacher, because if you embarrass the teacher, what happens to you? You get sent to detention, or you get sent down the principal's office, which is another sovereign. So it's funny. Like I said, somebody did a comparison between the similarities of a prisoner and the similarities of a citizen. And there's like 50 things to what a student is to what a prisoner is. So
there's also a thing I saw, a comparison of communist propaganda brainwashing, a line by line comparison with what exactly they're doing to us during this emergency situation, as far as brainwashing, isolation.
You read the Communist Manifesto, and we tick a lot of boxes off in the Communist Manifesto. We're basically we're living the Communist Manifesto. The
whole menu, the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty much tick the whole menu off. But people were so, what they say, the best slave is one that thinks he's free, and that's pretty much the American people. They'll tell you about their freedom and this, but they're paying property taxes, and they're letting armed men pull them over for traveling around from point A to point B, and fining them, giving them tickets for dumb little stuff and stealing money from their family. So I have no love for police officers. I really don't. There's no need for police officers. They're nothing more than thieves. They're road pirates is what a police officer is. He's a road pirate. They are revenue generators for the municipal corporations. And everything's a municipal corporation. Your local town, your local borough, your city, your state, they are municipal corporations within municipal corporations. So your county is the head municipal corporation for your area, and then you have the borough and the town. They're under the county municipal corporation. So you can think of the county as the crime boss. They're the crime boss of the area. And you can think of the township and the borough and the cities. They're basically gangsters. They're thugs that have territories. They're granted territories. And when somebody steps out of line in their territory, they report it to the crime boss, the county. And it's always the county that comes after you for whether it's taxes or whatever. It always gets reported to the county, because these boroughs and townships, if you notice the way they operate, they can never sue you in a court of law. In other words, if they have a tax problem with you, you're not going to pay their taxes. They don't sue you because they can't, because there's no cause of action to bring you into court. There's nothing factual that they can prove that you're responsible for paying them money. So they never have a cause of action to bring you into court. So they turn it over to the county. All these little entities, they turn it over to the county. And the county, like I said, is the crime boss. And even they can't bring you into court. What they do is they try and sell tax certificates, these fictitious securities they make up, and they claim that they're selling your property. Well, that's fraud. That's theft. It's treason and sedition is what it is. No one can just take property, but that's what these counties do. And they do it through basically the little boroughs and the towns. They report the stuff to the county, and the county basically commits theft among the people. This has been going on with everything, with your property. I mean, how can you own property? If you read your constitution, your state constitution, I know Pennsylvania has it, you have a right to own and protect property. Well, how can you own property if you got to pay somebody a rent of $6,000 or $7,000 a year, or they're going to come and take your property?
Right.
Well, you don't own your property then, okay? If you got to pay somebody money to live on your land, you don't own it, but you do own it.
Right.
But you've just been coerced and dumbed down to the point where you don't realize you own it, and people don't understand how to enforce it. And that's sort of what I'm working on now. I'm running at them. Instead of running from them, I'm running at them. And I'm going to start filing suits against them.
You're challenging them the right to tax you, basically, right?
Yeah, the whole property tax thing's a scam. They have no authority to tax your property whatsoever.
Well,
listen, you need to have, in order to tax something, you need to have a secured interest in it. All right, that's a fact. Well, last time I checked, they're not on my deeds, okay? Their name's not on there. They have no secured interest in my property. And my physical location does not give them secured interest in my property because I'm not on their land. You're not on their land where you live. That's not the state of Hawaii's land. You're on your land if you own that property, that land. So it's playing games with terminology, and it's really dumbing down people to the point where, I mean, my God, I've heard people say, well, we all have a duty to pay our fair share. Well, no, that's just, know what that is? That's ignorance. That's basically, that's the beaten wife, the abuser that beats the wife all the time, and the wife will never turn always makes excuses for the abuser, for the abusive husband. That's what the people have become, especially the ones that say, well, we all got to chip in and do our fair share. No, dummy, because the reason you have these boroughs and towns is they made a deal in order to get their charter, and their charter is sort of their government rules. Their charter allows them to tax businesses in their little area that they drew these lines around, okay? So they're allowed to tax these businesses in their little region that they decided they have. And in exchange for that, they promised the people services, picking up your trash, sweeping the streets of snow when there's snow, the police. That was the exchange. Hey, we'll collect the tax money from the businesses that we bring in. In exchange, we'll provide services to the people.
The public
people now believe that they're responsible for paying for their services.
Yeah.
They're not, okay? And what would really shock people is that money that you're paying to your local borough and town, that's not going to your borough and township, believe it or not, okay?
Where's it going?
Going to the IMF, okay? International Monetary Fund. That's where it's going.
And where is that?
They're the money changers. They're the ones that are even control the Federal Reserve. That's the sort of the World Bank, okay? They control. They're the ones pulling all the strings.
So they're in London. Where are they? Does anybody know where are
Does anybody really know where they're at? I don't know. I know the three Meccas are what? London, Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, and at the Vatican, right? They're the three Meccas. They're sort of countries unto their own. They are countries. They are, okay? And that's why the president needs, well, I don't want to call him the president. He's not my president. But that's why that guy called the president of the United States needs authority to come into Hawaii or authority to come into Pennsylvania.
The CEO. You know what's laughable is that they are now threatening to make D.C. a state, and it's impossible. They would never make D.C. a state because that would upend their whole crooked scam. I mean,
they're gonna. That's really ignorance speaking right there. Whoever's talking about that, they don't even have it. Listen, that's the scary part of what's going on with a lot of this stuff. Is the people that are doing this stuff to you, your local town, your borough, your county. These people have no idea what they're doing. They're just following. They're following the little rules that they were told. Here's your job. You do this, and you start to realize that when you talk to these people one-on-one, and you ask them the most basic questions. Oh my God, they'll send you a document with legal claims in it. Then you call up to find out about the document. They can't tell you who sent you the document. They don't know anything about what's in the document. So wait, let me get this straight. Your agency sent me a document, but you don't know who exactly is responsible for the document, and you don't know anything about the legal claims in your document. Well, if you don't know about the legal claims, then who the hell knows about the legal claims? And they'll always turn to their attorneys. You got to talk to the attorneys.
He knows everything.
He knows everything, but why would you speak to their attorneys? That's like sort of talk. That's like them telling you, go talk to my tiling contractor or my roofer or my drywall guy, or my plumber. Because all the attorney is he's a private contractor for the county or for the borough or for the town. And they may give him this fancy title, call him a solicitor. Who cares? That's a title that they gave. It means nothing. It means he's their guy. He's their attorney. But that attorney, if you think about what's going on, they're making illegal claims against you. The people making the claims against you, they can't support their own claims. So when you get them into court and you sue them individually, you don't sue, like I'll sue the agency for one reason, because I can't get of who Aston Township is, the Township of Aston. I don't know who that is. All I know is their name's all over the paperwork. So I'm a stupid guy here. I'm dumb. So I'm going to proceed this way. There must be a Mr. and Mrs. Township of Aston because they got their name on the paper. So I'm going to sue them that way, okay? Mm-hmm. And I'm also going to sue each individual man or woman I'm dealing with. And I'm not going to sue them as the mayor or the property inspector. I'm going to sue them as Joe Smith or, Mary Smith. Whatever their names are, I'm suing them individually. And I'm going to sue the municipal corporation in their name because, like I said, I'm a dummy. For all I know, there might be a county of Delaware. So I'm going to bring them into court, and I'm going to sue them basically in a common law. I'm not going to sue them in a statutory court. So when they come in, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to bring an attorney in for the county, okay? And he's going to start opening his mouth. Objection, sir. You're not a witness. You have no personal knowledge of anything. And, oh, by the way, you're not in a statutory court here. You're in a common law court. Okay, it's a court of record. Court of record proceeds according to the common law, okay? See all your 13 million statutes or whatever they are? They don't apply here. So you need a witness to come over. Who exactly is the county of Delaware? I'm going to need a man or woman to step forward to go with the other two idiots that I brought in, Mary Smith and whoever, John Smith. Because there better be a man or woman coming up to testify here because you're not testifying for anybody here. You have no personal knowledge of anything. You're counsel. You can't be both the plaintiff and the counsel. You got to be one or the other. So you better have a plaintiff here. Who's the plaintiff? Doesn't exist. Well, that's your problem. If you came into court with your attorney and you don't have I'm sorry, you're done here. You got nothing left to do. Let's go talk to the other two nitwits that have no clue what's going on. Let's bring them up here and ask them questions. And this is how you beat, okay? You show them their liabilities that the game. When you start doing that in your paperwork and in the way you act, you start to figure out that you know the game. Now, the sad part is so many attorneys don't know the game. So many attorneys actually believe that this statute's a law that applies to you, that can make you do things. And they can never support that. It's impossible for me to take a piece of paper and have somebody write on it. I don't care who they are. And say it gives me authority because somebody gave me a title to make you do things.
You know what? Excuse me, but I think what I've started to think of it as you go back talking about corporations and fictitious entities, which is what a corporation is, fiction of law. That's a Latin word corpus, like body, right? And so I wanted to ask you, you tell us now about affidavits and what a powerful weapon that is, and that an affidavit kills fictions, which is what the corporation is. That's really one of your highlights, is the affidavit and how to use that. But like you held up that paper, that is two-dimensional, right? That's two-dimensional. Yes. That's what a corporation is two-dimensional. A living human being, me and you, we're three-dimensional, we're four-dimensional. So it seemed like common law, which you kind of ran through that fast, but can you tell our viewers a little more about common law? Because that's the law. That's the real natural law going way back to 1,000 years ago in England and the British system of justice. But I'm just, I don't want to get you off your track, but somehow it seems to me the living human being is getting steamrollered by the two-dimensional fictional entity of the corporation, which are basically taking over our whole country and our whole world. But you have the penicillin, the antidote for that, and I want you to talk about that some, please.
Well, yeah, everything's and basically meaning if you just work into a proceeding, ticket or whatever, you get some dumb citation, and you file just normal paperwork into there. Well, here's basically you got to realize that there's a hierarchy. Number one, okay, think of he's at the top of the pyramid, the creator. He created man in his image. Then you have government, okay, the third layer, and that's judges and all fit under. And the reason they call you when you get paperwork defendant is a defendant is under the judge. So the defendant, you can think, is like four on the chain. You have the creator, man, government, which is the judge, and then the defendant. So if they can call you the defendant, they've just diminished your status of as being a man, because a defendant has rights. A defendant is a person, and you know what a person is? It's a society that has certain rights according to his in society.
I'm sorry, our sound. Yeah, the sound is glitching a little bit. I'm sorry. So just maybe say that again. Kind of missed some words.
A person. Think about a person as being someone in a society that has a status, like a judge or an police officer, and because of that status, they're granted certain rights. That's a person. Okay, that's what a person is. And you can think of a defendant as a person. A defendant is a person. A defendant has certain rights. Doesn't have God-given rights. Only man has God-given rights. A person has statutory rights. Whatever the legislature gave a defendant his rights. Okay, so that's why they try and diminish your to defendant. That's the first thing I'll go after when I get something in paperwork. We'll go to the affidavit a little bit, but first thing I'm going to attack is I'm the defendant. Who are you to diminish my status? Who gave you authority to diminish my status? I didn't give you that authority. I didn't give no judge authority over me to diminish my status. And basically, the judge is always going to side with the plaintiff. Okay, he's always going to look out for the plaintiff. So what you got to realize is you just file normal paperwork in your proceeding. I can hear you. You there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're getting some glitch, but hopefully it will come out when it's reprogrammed. We do have a viewer just commenting how they really like how you break everything down logically and plainly. They're saying it's outstanding information. So I don't know why the sound is acting up, but almost the cooties are getting in the wires or something. But yeah, please keep going. Maybe just a little bit slower because the sound doesn't seem to keep up.
Right.
Okay, so keep going. Person now also a corporation. Corporation is a person too. Also, isn't that right?
Corporation is a person, and there's another. If you know anything about like sets, how sets are set up, where you can't have a bunch of fictional entities such as a partnership, an S corporation, C corporation, and all these different fictional entities, and then have a living man in that set. Okay, it doesn't belong. It's either all that way, it's either all fiction or it's all real. So you can't be, and if you look in there, be person or natural person. And to me, a natural person is actually like a judge or a police officer, because they're a natural flesh and blood entity, but they're acting in the role of a person. Remember, he's a judge, he's a police officer. And that judge and police officer, because of their status in society of being a judge or a police officer, have certain duties and obligations based upon their status in that. They are natural persons. You are not natural persons. I'm a man. Woman's a woman. So they're always trying to diminish your status. And don't, like the whole capital name thing, I could care less about that stuff. I don't don't care about that. I don't care about the birth certificate. It doesn't matter to me. It's nothing to do with me, that birth certificate. And I have yet to see anybody bring a birth certificate in the court and try to use it against me. So I don't really care about that birth certificate. All I care about is you're not going to diminish my status. And the way I'm going to stop them from diminishing my status, as soon as they send me their dumb little paperwork and call me a defendant, well, now I'm going to go to an affidavit, which is basically it's think about it as being testimony made under penalty of perjury. So I'm putting something down on a piece of paper, and I'm going to get it notarized, where I can get a witness by two other people, a notary, on that document that I have personal knowledge of this matter, which means I'll come in and testify to it. I know for certain what I'm talking about in this document. I have personal knowledge of this matter, and I believe in what I put down in this document so much that I'm willing to go to jail for it. Well, I'm a two-dimensional entity, am I? Can a two-dimensional entity create an affidavit and walk into court and support it with testimony? Can't be done. Now commits a problem for them. Now there's a problem for them. You get that? You hear me, Ted, or we got audio?
Yeah.
So that's a problem for them, because now I'm going to attack the plaintiff. So not only going to, because I can't be a defendant. I don't accept that role.
Right.
And the way I could be a defendant in the matter is if I actually injured somebody. If I injured another man, if I punched somebody or hit him with a car or did something, and they filed a complaint against me and served me a summons, then I would fall in the role of a defendant because I injured some guy. I'm responsible for that. But on all these stuff that they're doing, all code crap, and it's all statutes, and they're not crimes. They're crimes in writing only. An injured party, injured man or woman. It's always because somebody wrote it down on a piece of paper. But that's not a crime. Okay, they're code infractions. They're not crimes. So that's the main power of the affidavit, is to sort of separate you, because I'm the alleged plaintiff, which always is the state of Hawaii or the town you live or the borough where you live. And I'm going to state that what you sent me, this is a forgery. It's fraudulent because somebody sent me a legal document with a fictional entity's name on it. Somebody's telling me that they're speaking doesn't exist. The state of Hawaii. Last I checked, that's called forgery. All right, and that's counterfeiting, because no state of Hawaii that's going to come into court and testify against me, or no state of Hawaii that I can use in a position. So whoever wrote that name on there and is responsible for sending me this garbage that they're calling a ticket or whatever, a judgment, that's called fraud. That's forgery. It's fraud. It's counterfeiting. And to me, I call it criminal gross negligence. And the reason it's criminal gross negligence, because these people should know I have rights. They're sitting right there in the state and federal constitution for them to review. They should know that. I'm not owned by them. All men are created equal. I'm equal to any man. So there's no man above me that can write things down on paper and make people do things to me because they put something down on a piece of paper. And when I notify them that, hey, this document you sent me is fraudulent. This is fraud. This is a crime, what you just did. Because there is no fiction called state of Hawaii. And if you continue to act after I've notified you that this is fraud, well, now we're into gross negligence. Because I put you on notice and you continue to move. So now we're in the gross negligence. Now you have no excuse whatsoever for your actions. Why did you do what you did? Well, the law or statute applied to you. What evidence do you have of that? It said everybody. It says persons. Well, how do you know I'm a person? They don't know. It's all BS, okay? They have no. It's all done. And if you look at the language under the statutes that they're moving against you, you'll never find the word man or woman in a statute. You'll never see all men or all women. You'll only see that when they're talking about rights. Like in Pennsylvania, Article 1, Section 1 of the Pennsylvania Constitution, inherent rights of mankind. You see man, okay? For anyone done harm to him. Courts are to be open for any man done injustice to him or his property. Okay, that's man. You'll see. You don't see person or person kind. It's mankind. So whenever they're talking about rights, it's always man. Whenever they're talking about statutes, think about statutes as the law society, the bar associations, fictional little rules that they created to control man. And don't kid yourself, the bar association creates them. The politicians are just, they're puppets, okay? They're puppets from the bar association. Think of the bar association as having their hand up the back or up the rear end of the politician and moving and making his mouth move, because that's what they're doing. Everything's being written by the bar association. They hand it off to the bureaucrats, the politicians, and the politicians pass this junk called statutes. And really, statutes to me are nothing more than corporate laws written to govern corporate entities. Well, I'm not a corporate entity, and my physical location doesn't make me a corporate entity. I'm a creation of God, and there's no man that can dispute that. I mean, that's the bottom line. And when you come at them that way, they're going to have a problem with you in court. But in order to make it a problem, you can't be the defendant and be on defense. You got to sue them. And when you sue them under the common law. And you really only need two causes of action: trespass and trespass on the case. That pretty much covers all your rights. That covers everything. And then you bring them in and you state, this is my property. These people are unlawfully administering my property. I need them to be brought in and explain themselves where they got authority to administer my property. And that's where the game ends. Because they're going to come in and they're going to statute. And I'm going to go, hey, this is common law, my friend. I'm the owner of the property. Where do you think a piece of paper gave you authority to do things to me? Who told you that? My attorney told me that. Oh, so your attorney told you to do things to me. So is your attorney my authority? Is he my superior? Well, no. So then what the hell does your attorney have to say have anything to do with me? Because your attorney told you that some document gave you authority over me. Doesn't exist. And that's where it falls apart for him. So you got to start suing them.
Okay, and I like what you do though is you don't use attorneys. You do it yourself. And
can't use it.
Can you explain why it is why we've been convinced that we can't do anything for ourselves without an attorney? I mean, they don't own the system. They don't rule the system. They actually hinder your rights in the system, don't they? I mean,
they are honest in one way when they say that you're incompetent. Yes, you are incompetent. I'm incompetent because I don't know the $23 million statutes or however many are. I don't know those statutes. Like I wake up every day and go, let me see what the pinheads in Harrisburg, PA did today. How many statutes they passed and how it changes my life. I live my life like that. Nor do I have to live my life like that. So if they're dragging you into a court that's a statutory court, not a common law court, yeah, you're not qualified to be in there, okay? You better get yourself out of there, and you better do it sort of the things I'm telling you about, basically, by filing affidavits into stuff and knocking out the presumptions right away. And keep pressing and pushing, well, now I'm going to sue them. Basically, I'm going to sue them, and I'm going to challenge the jurisdiction of that court. So I'll sue the judge. I'll sue the prosecutor, the attorney. I don't care who. I'm going to sue them. And that judge does not have immunity in a common law court. He might have immunity in a statutory court where he's used to being 99.9% of the time, but he doesn't have authority in a common law court. Nobody's going to save his ass in a common law court because I'm not suing him as Judge so-and-so, Judge John Whelan. I'm suing John Whelan, the man. I need John Whelan, the man, to come in here and explain to me how that black dress he put on gave him authority over me. Because some other pinheads told him he's a judge, not my judge. My judge is my creator. That's not my judge. Up there, the creator. So I'm going to sue him too and let him come into court and explain how he's doing what he's doing. Because last I checked, all men are created equal. They could stick 5 feet in the air over me. They could put a bandana and a scarf to go with his black dress. I don't care. Doesn't give him any more authority over me than anybody else has, okay? I'm equal to him. My question to him is, sir, under what authority are you? I'm the judge. Sir, again, that's a title. Under what authority telling I, a man, because court is what you call an inferior, one superior court, and it's not the Supreme Court's not the superior court. The only court that's supreme is a court. Because guess what? Amendment 7 of the Constitution. Listen to this. In suits at common law, where the value shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved. That means in all matters, tax matters, any matters, traffic ticket matters, shall be preserved. And now listen to this. This tells you who's the boss. And no act by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of common law. Bye-bye, Supreme Court. If a jury makes a decision in a common law court, they're helpless at the Supreme Court. They're a court of the United States, of that corporation in 10 square miles in the District of Columbia. They're not the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court doesn't issue orders. They issue opinions, okay? They're opinions. Well, guess what? Aren't court opinions nothing more really than hearsay? Just because something happened in a trial, I didn't witness what happened in that trial. Nobody witnessed what happened in that trial. Just the people that were involved in that trial, witness was in that trial. So then have something in a trial, opinion, handed down by a court, that I wasn't there to witness. I don't know what they actually are saying or what they meant. How does it apply to me?
Well, it doesn't. It doesn't. Excuse me. Also, you know, one thing is that, you know, Supreme Court is not capitalized, never in the Constitution. It's a lower S. They did that. Somebody jacked it up to the Supreme, big title, capital F. It's not. And it only is for federal matters. It's limited, I think, to only 8 particular matters, state versus state, things like that. But not you and me, and not our individual. And they've gotten, actually, I read in a book last night, the Supreme Court is designed to be the least powerful of the 3 branches of the government. It is not the Supreme, but it's flipped on its head. It's all the top dog now. They're doing the legislating. And I hope the sound is going through. I don't know if the viewers are seeing. I'm getting some comments also. A viewer also want to ask you about Robert Fox. Do you know that name? Do you know who that would be?
Yeah, my understanding is I think Robert passed away.
Yes.
My understanding of Robert has a very colorful life history, and he had the federal government come after him 10 times, my understanding. And he's the only man I ever know to beat the federal government 10 times, okay? They have like a 99.9% conviction rate. Is 10-0 again, 10-0. Some say 11-0. I'm aware he's 10-0 against them. And what he did was a lot of affidavit stuff, because you know you can't have a fiction coming at you. The plaintiff must appear. That's a maxim of law. The plaintiff must appear. Is the attorney the plaintiff? Well, no, he's speaking for the plaintiff. Bullshit. He's not speaking for no plaintiff. He's not speaking for Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck. Okay, he's not speaking for a fictional entity. At least not against me. He's not. Maybe in the corporate world where he's at, where he's representing a company and another attorney's representing another company. Well, then they can play their little game of attorney speaking for fiction against this attorney speaking for another. But I'm a man. That guy is not going to stand over there and tell me he's speaking for Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck against me, because that's what he's doing when he's saying he's speaking for the state of Hawaii. No, that guy's not speaking for the state of Hawaii. Because last I checked, the state of Hawaii was a piece of paper that exists only in a piece of paper. It's not a real entity.
Two-dimensional, yes.
Two-dimensional. There's no Mr. and Mrs. State of Hawaii that can come into court and say, I'm the plaintiff. I'm here to testify. Well, then what are we doing here? Then that entire proceeding being brought against you. What? Because the attorney can't speak for a fiction. He can't be both. Like I said, he can't be the counsel and he can't be the plaintiff. He's got to be one or the other. He can't be both. So but in 99% of the cases, people let that attorney speak for the fiction against them, and they don't object. And that's where people are getting shellacked in their courts. You got to say objection per Rule 602. That's most states is Rule 602, and the federal Rule 602. And just in general, you need to have personal knowledge of a matter. If that attorney's speaking against you and making statements against you, he's testifying. I don't care if he got up and was sworn in. He's testifying against you, that guy. He's making any negative statement. He's testifying against you. He's not qualified to testify against you. He's got no personal knowledge of any matter to testify against you. And this is the deprogramming you have to do with people. You have to try and remove them, because that all of us, we all do this, okay?
Yeah, amen.
Took me a long time to get this down.
Yeah.
Put it together.
That's why I like hearing you and talking to you, and people like listening to you, because it gets us back, our feet on the ground and our head thinking again the straight way. And I mean, this is very beautiful. And we have viewers watching and they're sending comment. Please do keep sending comment. We'll ask some questions. But I don't want to interrupt. Just want to get back to you talk about process, and you mentioned to me many times that the lawyers, attorneys, general attorney, I know there's always very great attorney, there's good and bad, but they don't understand the process. And by the time they send you their mumbo jumbo complaint against you for the client, they've got it all hosed up, and you have a genius for unwinding it. And the process, I mean, what do you find the most common breach of the whole jurisdiction? What is it? Is it process? Is it liability? What exactly do you find that they always trying to throw at people?
Well, attorneys in law school are never taught common law, what the common law is. They're taught statutory law from the start. So in their world, like they said, to a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So to an attorney, everything looks like a statute. That's all the attorney knows. Everything's a statute. He don't know anything about common law. I heard somebody was in court the other day. They were using some of my stuff. They said they're going to move by way of common law, and the judge said, "I never heard that. What's the common law?" Now, either that judge is dumb as dirt, or that judge is sly as a fox. Okay, but I don't really know which one it is, because some of these judges are dumb as dirt. So the attorney, right off the bat, they think they're superior to you. Okay, they think, listen, they think they're in an elite class, and you're one of the little peons under them, and you're too stupid to know what you're doing, because when you get in trouble, you run to them like, Daddy, I need you to help me. That's how they look at you. Okay, they have disdain for you. You're a useful idiot. You're just a way to get money for them. But you're a useful idiot to them. They have disdain for you. And what you have to do is learn what the attorney's Achilles heels are. And some of them I brought up there, where one of the big ones too is when you get in any court proceeding, I don't care if it's a traffic ticket, you got a prosecutor over there. And when that traffic ticket hearing starts, first thing they do is they announce their appearance in the hearing. I'm John Michael Sheridan. I'm appearing for the sewer authority. Well, most people let that go. The guy on the other side lets that go. If there's an attorney over there he's definitely going to let it go. He's not going to question that attorney. And even if the individuals represent themselves, they're going to let it go because they don't know what they're doing. But here's what just happened. You just granted that attorney authority to speak for a fictional entity against you. Good luck trying to win that, because I come into court and say, I'm here to speak for Mickey Mouse, and I'm coming after Ted White. And hey, Ted, Mickey's got these rights, Ted, and you violated Mickey's rights. Now, what do you got to say? You don't have a chance. You don't have a chance to win, okay? First thing you're going to do, that attorney says, I'm here for so-and-so. Objection. I see no evidence of the attorney's agency to act for anybody. Is there a principal here that I can question, I can get up on the stand, that can testify that they hired this man to take these actions against me? Because I don't see any principle in this matter. All I see is some guy card over here who's making claims. I don't know who this guy is. His card entitled doesn't that I have. So why is it over here in front of me? Does he have any does he even have a piece of paper from a principal stating that they gave him agency to act? Because even if he has that paper, I still need the principal in court because I need to get him up on the stand and ask him, how did you hire this guy to do things to me? Ready to hire this guy to do things to me. You think anybody from that company is going to come up and say, I'm the CEO. I'm the one that hired him to do these bad things to you. You could come sue me. No, nobody's going to do that. Okay? And that's the game. Because the game is they don't want you to know that. There's nobody coming forward over there. There's nobody stepping forward. It's the attorney running this show. Everything he's doing is a sham against you. It's a fraud. So call it what it is. I don't see he's acting for anybody but himself. He's acting on his own behalf. And nobody verified this and anything he sent to me. That complaint he sent to me, it's got his signature on there. He's not the plaintiff. Where's the plaintiff's signature? Verified what he filed against me. In other words, anything he files against you is never verified.
So the due process you're talking about, nobody need no stinking due process. No.
No, verification means that someone's taking responsibility for that and willing to go to jail for what's written on that paper. Well, the attorney tries to be like a dirtball. He just signs it. I'm John Michael Sheridan, and he don't think you're going to know what to do. Well, I look at that paper and I go, let's see. He's got no jurisdiction, this attorney, over me. Jurisdiction is control. That's all that means. He's got no control over me, this attorney. He's got no legal standing. And what legal standing means is in order to have standing, somebody had to have violated your right or injured you in some way. It's the only way you can get standing. Somebody did something to you. No jurisdiction, no legal standing, and he's got no personal knowledge of anything. In other words, anything he's doing, somebody told him about. He don't know anything about it. So strike three. No jurisdiction, no legal standing, no personal knowledge. He's out. He's done. He's got no leg to stand on in this matter. So if he filed some paperwork against me, a legal document, I'm pretty damn sure that that's called forgery because he's forging a claim for a fictional entity that doesn't exist. And he's doing it to cause me damages and injury and violate my rights. He don't have any rights to do that. So now I'm going to attack him. In other words, the way you defeat a lot of this is you don't fight the claims made against you. You fight the process of how they're executing the claims because that's where the flaws are. Who's this guy, an attorney? And why is he messing with me? What's he doing? And then they'll come in and they'll try and say, well, this is an in rem proceeding, which means it's against your property, okay? So let me get this straight. My property smacked you across the head. Is that what you're telling me? My property jumped up, ran over to you, and smacked you across. My property violated one of your rights. You're telling me? Because that's what the proceeding is, okay? And actually, if you read the definitions, it actually states that you can't separate rem from the person, from the individual. They're one and the same because when you're damaging the property, you're damaging the man, okay? You're damaging the individual. So it's fairy tale to think, well, this is not an action against Mr. Faggiolo. Oh, this is an action against his property. Well, you can't damage my property without damaging me, okay? It's a ridiculous claim. It's fraud. Everything they're doing is fraud. So you attack the process, and you've got to learn, you got to learn the basics. Read your state constitution. Read your rights. Because when they bring you in a traffic court or a tax court or whatever, unless there's a jury, and unless there's a real man or woman on the other side, the whole thing's a sham. That this whole proceedings, it's a sham, and that's an actual pleading you could enter. That's a response you could enter. Is that this is a sham proceeding? I've done it, which means this whole thing's built on fraud. It's a sham proceeding. There's no plaintiff. The attorney don't have personal knowledge, anything. What are we doing here? Where's the injured party? Okay. I talked to a guy in Hawaii. He used some of my affidavits. And they're actually taking him to trial for a mask violation. So he did everything right, filed the right affidavits, and it's that they're going to proceed. So I to him, and he tells me he's going to do it. A friend of mine is, he's going to sue them. And he's under the common law for trespass against the case. And let the dumb judge and the dumb prosecutor and any other dummy from the store that wants to come in and explain how they got authority to do things to him, make him wear masks, threaten him with fines for not wearing a mask. These are ridiculous claims because he's not their indentured servant. He's not their slave. They don't have any standing to do.
All right. I want to let me just share something. I mean, I'm in Hawaii, you in Pennsylvania. We assume that we are all, legitimate. You and me and baby makes three and all that stuff.
Say that again. I got dogs.
Yeah. Well, we assume that we're following the United States Constitution. And,
okay.
Your state constitution is pretty much like mine because they all the U.S. Constitution, and they throw in a few, but it's basically a mirror, right, of the the state constitution.
Pretty much. Some states try and get things out that they don't like, okay? So they try and leave out.
Well, I found something interesting. I went and invested in this Black's Law Dictionary, volume 11.
God bless you, man. I can't see that stuff. I need the electronic one where I can blow it up.
Yeah. Well, I bought the latest one because I can't find a lot of the new term, but I found that just looking through it, I found something, and you're Italian better than mine, I guess Latin, but this is one thing called nulla poena sine lege, okay? And it's a very interesting term, but what it says is no punishment without a law authorizing it. Okay, that's what it says in Latin. And it expands a little. It says, excuse me, quote, one of the core elements of modern Western law is the nulla poena sine lege principle, according to which an act can only be punished if the crime itself and the corresponding punishment is clearly determined at the time of the act's commission, unquote. Okay, did you hear that? Well, yeah, I had a guy in Hawaii I was helping with a mask violation, and actually they got it dismissed. But basically the same thing. He got a ticket, a citation with nothing really, no real law, nothing quoted that he violated.
How do you get it dismissed?
In our state. So I'm just saying, here it is. It says you can't punish somebody and charge them with a crime for a law that does not exist. And our law does not exist.
How did he get it dismissed? What did he do?
Well, this lady attorney who was running for district attorney was a very nice lady. Unfortunately, she didn't win, but she was out telling people she'll help them, with their mass violation. And she sort of had a little variation of what you say, but it was the same thing, that there's no statute, there's no code, there's no nothing. We don't have any legislative law. We just have a decree by a mayor. We have a decree by governor.
Here's a dirty secret they don't want you to know. None of their laws apply to you. Zero of their laws apply to you. Okay?
Wait a minute. What?
Zero of their laws or statutes apply to you. There's one law. Do no harm to your fellow man. That's it. Okay? Yeah. And that's law. Now, man, God at the top appeared, and government. Man created government for one reason, to protect his individual rights, okay? To protect property. That's why government was created, property. The Constitution was written for government. It was not written for me and you. All the Constitution does is guarantee our God-given rights. And if you need evidence of that, go read Amendment 9 to the Constitution. Basically, it's any right stated in here served by the people and the state. Okay? By the state. Reserved on the state. So if state's sovereign and it states the state and you, well, guess what? You're sovereign. You're equal with you're actually superior to. They're telling you right there that any right that's not stated in there, like the right to travel in your car, okay? That's a right. Even though it's not in any Constitution, that's a right you have. It's a substantive right. You need to travel to work, to survive, to get food. I mean, we're not farmers. There's not farms around here. Run over to my neighbor and go pick up some corn. And some, I got to get in my car and go get it. So that's a substantive right. You can't take rights. The government license a right. So you're, like I said, that's law is do no harm to your fellow man. So all their laws that they created, they came under the Constitution. The supreme law of the land, then Article 6, Clause 2. That's the supremacy clause. The federal Constitution is the supreme law of the land for them. Okay? The federal Constitution trumps the state constitutions. If there's anything in conflict in the state constitution with the federal constitution wins. Okay? Well, statute, code, ordinance, mass violation, whatever, all came under the state constitution. Any ordinance or code came under the state constitution. It could never exceed the state constitution. In other words, the ordinance that they created can never jump the state constitution and be superior to it. So if you have a right to trial by jury in your state, they can't catch you and push a hearing without a trial. Okay? It's a violation of your rights. They're trying to take statute and trump the state constitution. Can't do that. Read the supremacy clause. Anything in conflict, state constitution or laws of the state that are in conflict with the federal constitution are notwithstanding. Means they're null and void. No matter what they say. If they conflict with the federal constitution, they don't count. Now the problem is no one knows how to enforce it. No one's been doing it the right way. You got to go on the offense and sue them. Now, I've gotten a few. I got a ton of people off of traffic tickets. Went off, broken her house because she was growing. Got her off. Got a woman at a law firm buy a credit card debt for her, like $7,000 credit card debt, and we knocked that out of the box and got rid of that. So every now and then you're going to get some decent judges. That right thing. 99% of the time, you're not a decent judge. He's going to railroad you, okay? And as soon as you see that your paperwork's not working, meaning your affidavits that you filed into the case, and that they're not going to listen to you and just proceed, you need to turn around and sue them. Sue the prosecutor, the attorney, who else is over there that brought this. Sue them for trespassing on the case. You bring them into court and state what they did. Hey, I have a right to own property, or I have a right to be free. You know, this person trying to conduct a medical intervention on me. Tell me I can't enter a public establishment unless I do a medical intervention and put a mask on my face. I need people to come into court and explain how they got this authority over me. Because last I checked, all men are created equal. So how did their policy, their store policy, trump? Remember, everything's under the Constitution, the state constitution. Now, you got the state constitution, you got ordinances, statutes. Here's company policy down here, way down here. Policy. It's way down. The Costco policy trumped the state constitution. It did.
It doesn't, and that's why here in Hawaii, the legislature met last year with the purpose of making laws about masks. And you know what? They dismissed without making any laws because somebody said, hey, you know, we can't do it.
I think that's Amendment 10. Go look at Amendment 10. It states basically anything that's not, like, in other words, the government does not, those people, those municipal corporations, if it's not enumerated for them in the Constitution, they can't create it. In other words, they can't delegate powers, but that's what they've been doing. Gun laws, mask ordinances. But you sue them. Hey, first sue the man or woman. Bring them into court. Let the man or woman explain the legislature gave them authority. Because let's if I do something to you, Ted, and you sue me, and you bring me into court, and I say, well, Ted, you know, Tom told me to do it to you. Tom said it was all right to do this to you. Is that a defense? Can I stand on that?
No.
Isn't that what the store manager's doing? Isn't that what they're doing when they're saying, well, the governor said, I didn't hear from the governor. You know, jurisdiction over me. So where exactly did this governor get a thought? Is he going to be in this, when I sue this store manager, is the governor going to show up, or is he going to send representatives to show up to this hearing? No. Okay? It's going to be the store manager. And he's going to be stuck out on an island trying to explain how he thinks some paper that was sent called a regulation by a governor gave him authority over me. Fuck with that. Okay? It's not going to go well because claim paper and say, Ted, this piece of paper says I can bash you over the head. It says here right here, Ted, look, it's the law. It's the law, Ted. I'm allowed to bash you over the head.
Well,
these group of guys voted on it, called the legislature. They voted on this. No, it's ridiculous.
Well, it was 800 years ago. There was a bunch of English nobles that they got tired of the king doing that kind of stuff, and they sat the king down, and under force of arms, they told him, you're going to back off, and you're going to sign this thing we call Magna Carta, and that you can't do this, deprive us of life, liberty, or property without a jury trial, due process, jury of our peers. You can't be the king anymore like you are. And he signed it. That was 800 years ago. Well, I'm not that great of a historian, but I think that the Declaration of Independence, those founders, they were greatly knowledgeable about the Magna Carta and British common law. And they didn't want the king stepping on their toes again. So the Declaration of Independence said, we're not going to let the king do that. And then the Constitution followed that. But the Constitution is to contain the government, you know, hold the government back from doing the same thing the king was doing. But somehow that's all flipped on its head. But anyway, common law is our friend. It seems to me common law is like the most beautiful thing, and no court wants you to know about common law or use the common
Take their power from them. You strip their powers from them when you do that. Because in a common law court, the magistrate, which is the judge, is separate from the tribunal. Because the tribunal, okay, they make the decision. Well, that in check. He can't just do anything now, okay? And if it's my court and I file the suit, it's my court, not his. It's my court. And guess what? If he does things I don't like, issuing orders, which I don't like, I'm gonna submit a writ of error to him, telling him, and I'm gonna correct him. Excuse me, sir. This is not your court. You're the magistrate in this matter. You're not the tribunal. You don't make decisions in this matter. Only the jury makes decisions in this matter. And I'm going to keep submitting writs of error for everything he does. And if he keeps doing it, guess what? I'm going to hold him in contempt. I'm going to file a writ of contempt against him for being in contempt of court. Because this is my court. The court is basically my paperwork, okay? The court is my paperwork. That's what a court is, okay? The place it's being held is called a venue. That's the courthouse. That's the venue. The actual court is my paperwork. That's the court. He's not the court.
Yeah, I like it what you said one time. You said the case is won or lost basically before you even show up in the court based on the paperwork. Can you expand on that a little? And the affidavit is the major part of that.
Think about it this way: if you know you're gonna sue somebody, and if you know all two things with the trials, the law and facts in dispute. They're the two elements, the facts and the law. Well, if you know you're going to sue somebody, set them up with an affidavit. Put every point you're going to make in your pleading, your paperwork, depending on what you're suing for, negligence, trespass, breach of fiduciary duty, harassment, whatever you're going to, and every cause of action has a set number of elements you have to check off. So for like a contract dispute, there's 3 elements. There has to be a duty. You had to have breached the duty. And because of your breach, you had to have damaged somebody. So unless you got those 3 elements, and you can prove those 3 elements, you can't prove that there's a contract default. So if you're going to set somebody up and you got your cause of action, put all your elements in your affidavit and challenge them on it. Hey, you don't have this authority. You're claiming you have this authority. You have no evidence of having this authority. Set them up in your affidavit, because what's going to happen is when you send that affidavit to them and give them a chance to respond, they're never going to respond. Ever respond. The only way an affidavit can be answered is by a counter affidavit. And a counter affidavit is supposed to be a rebuttal point for point. So if I put 10 points against somebody and submit it as an affidavit, they got to come back with a rebuttal, 10 for 10. If they only rebut 7 points and I give it to them, well, then there's 3 points standing. My affidavit stands as truth, those 3 points. But they never rebut your affidavit because they can't rebut your affidavit. When I send my affidavit to the township or the county, is the attorney going to step forward and rebut it? Oh, hell no. Because they may do it for somebody that they think doesn't know what's going on, but if they have an inkling that you sort of might know a little bit of something, no way that attorney's stepping forward and going to rebut your affidavit, because that's personal liability for him. You can come from his home bank account and his bar card. You can take everything from him in the way. So he's not going to do it. Is the pinhead mayor or pinhead bureaucrat that from the township, are they going to rebut your affidavit? Oh, hell no. They don't even know what they're doing. They got no clue what they're doing. What you wrote in your paperwork, the stuff you're asking them, it's like Chinese to them. They have no clue what you're doing. That's Chinese language to them. So they're not going to rebut it. And bottom line is, anything not objected to is agreed to. That's in the real world, and that's in courts. If you're in a court and you don't object to something, you can't appeal it. If you don't object to that fact, you lost it. You let it go. So when you file an affidavit against them, they're not going to respond. So they tacitly agree and acquiesce that everything in your affidavit is the truth. Ooh, that's good. So now when I go file my cause of action and I hit all the elements already because they already agreed to them, gee, maybe I can file now, knock them right out of the box, because I'm going to incorporate my affidavit that I send. I'm going to attach it to my pleading. I'm going to incorporate my entire to my pleading, because I'm going to state attached Exhibit A, affidavit of fact, is incorporated as if stated in full herein. In other words, everything in this is now in my, and everything in my pleading now is under. So now I need Shemp, Larry, and Mo to come into court and explain how they did. And when they come in and I say, didn't I provide David to rebut? And they tell me, no, we don't have to rebut your affidavit. We have no obligation to do that. Oh, really? So you could just make legal claims against me with no, you have no downside. You could just make any kind of legal claim you want and with no responsibility for your claim. You don't have to back it up. So right. You're a king. I guess you're a king then, right?
Yeah.
That sounds real bad, doesn't it? In front of a jury. Why didn't you respond to my affidavit? Well, I didn't have to respond to your affidavit. Well, wait a minute, sir. You're making legal claims against me. I challenged your legal claims. I gave you a chance to rebut. You rebut me back. Well, I don't have the obligation to do that. Excuse me, sir. Do you own me? Do you have authority over me or something that you don't respond to me? You could just do things to me. And that sounds real bad in front of a jury or in front of a judge because it's a ridiculous claim. Here, I'm going to make all legal claims against you. And then when you challenge me, what I'm going to say, Ted, I got no obligation to answer you. Screw you, Ted. I'm the king. Anything I write. Yeah, good luck with that.
Well, speaking of kings, and there's another little thing that we talk about, and you put it in all your affidavits. It's something called color of law. You know, color of law. And a lot of people, nobody wants to talk about that. No lawyer wants to talk about that. But I don't want to interrupt you, but can you just get a little side note here on color of law? People don't even understand that these laws are not laws that they say are laws, but can you tell us why we're being bamboozled again, believing the king can make a decree and make that a law just by decree? Only a king can do that, and we don't have a king last I checked. I don't know. Maybe I missed it. I missed the memo.
Yeah, the Sixth Amendment and the Seventh Amendment of the federal Constitution. Sixth Amendment is in all cases that involve a crime, you have a right to trial by jury. You have a right to question your accuser. The Seventh Amendment is states common law. Common law mentioned twice in there in the Seventh. And that's for civil matters. For anything that's not a criminal matter, you also have a right to trial by jury. So we know that's a fact, okay? You have a protected right from the Constitution to a jury trial in both matters. We know that's a fact. But when they send you a judgment that was created by this in the local municipal court, they send you the thing, they say, hey, there's a judgment issued against you, and you never had a trial. How can there be a judgment issued against you when there was never a trial? Well, that's called the color of law, because real law is you're entitled to. Is that what they're doing with this little administrative court that they're bringing? No, that's color of law that they're exercising. They're not following the law. They're following color of law.
Pretend.
They're trying to treat you not like a man with God-given rights. They're trying to treat you as one of their citizens or one of their subjects, okay? They're doing that deceptively. They're not treating you like a man. They're treating you like a subject or a citizen. That's called color of law.
That's the two-dimensional world. They're trying to drag you into their two-dimensional Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and the color cartoon world, but they're making it up. It's a lie, but you're supposed to follow it and just believe it, but it's not real. It's not a true law.
Now, it's funny to watch some of these attorneys. I watched one guy years ago, and the guy, he missed a lot of things. He was on the stand, and he was one of the free man on the land kind of thing, and he missed a lot of stuff. But he caught the lawyer on one thing. When the lawyer was trying to state that it was a driving violation, and the lawyer was trying to state, well, for the good of society, there's a social compact. And the guy said to him, do you have that contract? Because I never signed that contract. That attorney did a 180, and he got off that topic immediately because he called him on his bullshit, basically. What a social compact is, well, Ted, we all got to pay our fair share. It's a social compact. Well, where's that fair share contract? Did I sign that fair share contract anywhere? I don't remember seeing that fair share contract.
How much is the fair share?
Yeah, what is the fair share? Is 5,000 enough? Is 20,000 enough? Is my house enough? What's the fair share?
Well, democracy. That's where democracy will come, and they'll vote. If 51% say all of it's the fair share, then you lose it. And that's why democracy is a nightmare with uneducated.
Let's clear that word right now. Let's get that one out of the way, okay?
Uh-oh.
Democracy equals tyranny. Democracy equals tyranny, okay?
Yeah.
You hear something when a politician say our democratic government, you better, you know what? Take that politician out quick.
Right.
That's a tyrant, okay? Because here's what a democracy is. 51 beats 49 every time.
Yeah.
So what that means is 49 has no rights.
None.
If 51 decides everything, if 51 is opposite of 49 all the time, and the same 49 are on this side, 49 don't have rights, do they?
No, none. Zero.
That's what a democracy is.
Yeah, mob rule is what
a republic is. We're a republic, okay? What that means is I'm self-governing. That means me as a man, I'm self-governing. I don't need daddy government, the municipal corporation, the township to take care of me, or the state or the county. I'll take care of myself, okay? And you got to live that, though. You got to walk the walk and talk the talk. You can't take their money. You know, I didn't take any of their money, the handout that they gave out. And I'm not taking the new money either. I'm not taking that stuff. I'm not taking any of their money. My God, I got 2 letters from the IRS, and I went, oh, Jesus Christ, here we go. I'm going to be fighting with the IRS now. They're trying to give me money. Hey, we got like $2,000 over here. You didn't claim it yet.
That can't be good.
You keep that money. You take that money. Yeah. I don't want that money, because with that money comes duties and obligations. Okay, yeah. I don't want duties and obligations to a fictional entity. So,
well, they are also in Puerto Rico. The IRS, you know, they are based in Puerto Rico for some reason, which we're not supposed to know. But that's the other threat, is that the other side say they're going to make that a state. I don't think they can do that either, just like DC. But I wanted to ask you something. You know, my math is not the best in the world. I used to fly airplanes, you know, and we have to add up, you know, how much gas we got, how far can we go based on how much we burn, you know, an hour. So I just sat down and tried to figure out this latest gift, the latest gift of the $600 that they want to give us. And I couldn't divide it because there are too many zeros, but I just logically figured it out. And please help me if I'm wrong, but it's 900 billion, they claim, is what this bill costs. Well, it's way more than that. We don't know what it really, but they say, okay.
Here and there. Who cares? It's not a trillion. You know?
Well, I'll be brief. But anyway, I couldn't figure all those zeros, but I figured out if we had, let's say, hypothetically, we had 1.5 billion population, which there is a country in the world that has that large a population. Then you divide that into 900 billion, you get $600. Wow. How about that? 600 each. The only problem, we don't have 1.5 billion population. We have about 1/5 of that. So where's the other 4/5? Where's the 4/5 going? The rest of that, when we get our $600, if we ever get it, but I don't know. My math is better than the Washington. They're not good at math. And by the way, I did ask a man who is a mathematic genius and professor, how much did the last bill cost us, the gift of the 1,200 that you didn't take that last year? That one, you know, cost $2.5 trillion, something like that. He figured it out. It cost us $83,000 per person that goes on our debt forever with interest to get that $1,200. So, you know, they think the loan sharks are bad up there in Philly and New York. I mean, but don't give, please, I can't afford $2,000. If they want to give me $2,000, I can't afford it. That's going to be $200,000 or $300,000 it will cost. So I don't know, but you know what? We're going to wrap up here soon. But I love to talk about this with you because you bring it back to being real. But I like to call this street law. Really, what you're talking about is what I don't know what to call it, but street law. You know, it works, okay, but it's actual common law. That's what it really is, the common law. But there's nothing common about common law. It's
all it is, you know.
And you, the street man, you, the street fighter, and God bless you. You're the man standing up. You're one voice in the wilderness. You're the John the Baptist, whatever. I call you the modern Martin Luther. You're the Martin Luther of our new revolution of the street law, of saving common law. Martin Luther dragged away the religion out of Rome and made it back to the people. Well, that was 500 years ago, and now here you are today, bringing back common law, just the common sense, common law, and doing it yourself and winning. And I just say thank you. And there are many, many hundreds of people, and I hope there'll be thousands and millions come aware of what you're saying, and people will wake up, change their thinking, change the thinking a little bit. You have a brain, you have a God-given brain to think. And that's what, the school is supposed to help develop your ability to think critically, to read, and to make rational thought out of that. But they don't do that. Books have become like a big valuable object. I see in all the YouTube guys, they have their library of books behind them, the young guys, the kids, I call them. But I'm so happy to see, but they have discovered books, believe it or not, are better than downloads and Googles and all, because Google disappears and Google changes, and Wikipedia is like, oh boy, I don't like that. It's changing all the time. Books don't change. And if you can grab some books, grab the basic starting law books, just like you said at the beginning. People on their mantle in the good old days of America, they had their musket rifle, they had their Gideon's Bible, and they had their law book, the Black's Law Book or whatever came before. And they sat down and they read that, and they thought about it, and they went, and when there was something wrong, they spoke up and they corrected that. So thank you for what you are doing. God bless you. And I want to give you the final word here. Give us some hope. Give us something. Give us a good talking to, or what, a tongue lashing. But how is it we can snap? We've been put under a spell, basically, by TV and by the Perry Mason courtroom and all this nonsense. What's the antidote? I know affidavit, an affiant, I looked it up, is a person who's testifying of a fact, who makes an oath, who swears the truth that they're telling as a human being. So give us something to go on to bite in and chew on about affidavits, or how to save ourselves from this runaway injustice department. What's going on?
Well, first, I mean, I'm just the average guy, basically, and I'm no different than anybody else is. Believe me, I'm the guy that on the SAT test, I scored just above the points you get for putting your name on the test. That's me, okay? I did horrible in those things, okay? And if I listened to what they told me, I would think I was just an idiot. But listen, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I have enough common sense to sort of look through the BS, and just, you have to sort of be the little kid that's watching the parade going by, and the kid's naked, and all the people are waving at him, and the little kid's hollering, "The king's got no clues. The king's got no clues." And you got to be that person. And so, I mean, I look at it this way. It's funny, I heard Carl Lentz talking the other day on a video, and he said the same thing that's been sitting in my heart, that I can't explain it. Something's pushed me into doing this. It's divine force. It's not me. In other words, things have just sort of, as I went down this path, things have sort of broken my way. And when I say broken my way, I mean in a way that the right knowledge got placed in front of me to, like, absorb this, and then, move the next thing. Now absorb this, and you start to see it's like a big tapestry. You start to piece it together, a big quilt. You go, okay, oh, I see what they're doing here. Oh, the attorney's creating a lien. Oh, that's forgery. Okay. And you start to put these little pieces together. And so I'll get this way. It comes from the creator. And I see a lot of these guys. I think as soon as you step out of being humble with this stuff, you're going to get knocked on your rear end. He's going to pull the rug out from under you. So you got to remain humble with this stuff. You got to be vigilant, but you got to remain humble. And I look and I understand some of these guys. They're trying to make a living doing this, or they're trying to make money. And I don't have that in me, man. Because my promise to the Creator was, you give me the knowledge to be free, to be truly free, and I promise I'll help as many people as I can. And to me, when someone comes to help you comes to ask you for help. The only times I can't help somebody is if I just got too much stuff going on. And I try and still get back to them and give them the information they need so that they can start disseminating stuff themselves. And when I have time, a lot of times I'll jump in and help people with paperwork. But you've got to sort of do that yourself. And I don't if somebody comes to me, if I have some knowledge that might be able to help somebody out of a jam, I just can't imagine telling somebody, well, if you pay me $50 or you pay me $100, I'll give you the knowledge that might be able to help you. But if you don't pay me, you're out on your own what the wolves are going to get you. You know, I'm going to put you out with the wolves. To me, that's about the most ungodly thing you could do is if you could help your fellow man in any way and you're trying to charge him, well, gee, that would make you an attorney, wouldn't it? Somebody came to me asking for help, and I said, listen, I'll help you, but it's going to cost you a couple $100. I'm no different than an attorney. And why would I ever lower my status to be an attorney? Why would I ever bring myself down from under the creator to be with a dirtball called an attorney and act like him? You know, I'm not built like that. And I've come to learn that I've had people numerous times, let me send you this, let me give you this money. Nah, we're good. You know, just take care of yourself, do your own thing. And it's paid off for me tenfold. People have come and just, you know, people have done things, just help me out. Just the compliments they give you, things they do just to keep your spirits up because we're all human and we're not all riding high every day, you know. And it's great to wake up sometimes and see, you know, a guy says, you know, they took my license from me, you know, submitted an affidavit, they gave it right back. Wow. Or the woman that, you know, they broke in her house because she was growing marijuana for her own use, which she's allowed to do, and they arrest her. And this woman's facing, you know, could be facing jail time. And to be able to help her and to have them call her up and say, you know, we're going to drop this suit. That is, I think, worth more than money because that's something you've helped with somebody that they'll never forget. Okay, they're never going to forget, even though it might have only been a small thing I did, but still, they're never going to forget that. And the bonus part of that is they're going to help somebody else with the stuff I've helped them with. It's going to get passed down. In other words, they're going to know what to do when that situation comes up for one of their friends or one of their family members. And that's the only way I think for us out of this. You can't save the world. You got to stop trying to save the world. Everyone's trying to save the world. You can't. You got to save yourself. First, save yourself, and then you can start helping your friends and your family. You know, and that's hard to do because, you know, my God, I got friends and family. They think I'm nuts. They think you're crazy. You know, they think what you're doing is so foreign. And you look at them because they're just so far down the rabbit hole, you can't get them out. And it doesn't matter how much you talk to them, you just can't get them out. And I can only do so much. You know, you can only help somebody so much. But worry about fixing yourself and learn the basics. Go get Mark Stevens' book for $10. My God, $10 is nothing. Go get Government Indicted. Study it. Go listen to Bill Thornton. And that's a guy that I really haven't given enough credit to. Bill Thornton sort of got me into all this, okay? He was the first videos I watched. Go watch Bill Thornton's intro to common law. It's like 2.5 hours.
Yes, the crown. He's got the crown on his head and all that. I know.
Go watch the intro. That 2.5 hours is probably the most valuable 2.5 hours you'll probably ever watch.
Yeah.
He'll separate a lot of this stuff I just talked about. He'll tell you what common law really is.
Yeah.
And how you operate in it. And that's where your freedom is they've hid the common law from you. Everything they want you to do is they want you to be in statutory law. No, it's always statutory, you know. Pro se, you're this, you're that. They always want to put a tag on you, you know. And no, you move with the most basic claims. Like even Len said, it's like it's caveman stuff, you know. Bob, take my stuff. Make Bob give my stuff back. You know, that's sort of how basic it is, really.
Yeah.
If it's your property, county take my property. Make county get property back. You know, it's sort of like that. You know, but that's really what it is because what you have to realize is everything's being done by the Bar Association. They're pulling the strings. And the Bar Association, the attorneys that are advising the people that are coming at you, whether they be the police, whether they be your local township, your local borough, It's always the strings are always being pulled by the bar association.
And this is not Cheers bar we're talking about.
No.
The other, the bar, the British accredited registry that's loyal to the Crown of England. I mean, how can that be, Alphonse? How could that be?
Well, it's treason and sedition, really, what it is. They're foreign agents, okay? But remember, the attorney's already struck out. He's got 3 strikes. No jurisdiction, no legal standing, no personal knowledge. He's easy to take care of when you attack him the right way. In other words, like we did in some of your stuff. Who do we go after, Ted? Do we answer the claim?
No.
Or the attorney. We attacked the attorney, didn't we?
Yeah.
Hey, what's this guy? I don't know who this guy is. He's making claims against me. He's got no personal knowledge of anything.
Yep. Yeah, he folded like a cheap suit, you know, and I never would have known that if you hadn't have pointed it out and helped me and told me. But this is the beauty. This is the beauty of what Alphonse is saying. This is what he's trying to get us to realize, that we as living, breathing human being living in the now have strength over this make-believe corporation, all of these goofy games they play with word magic and the court and how they do things. But you can use your affidavit filing the truth. And now you have to be telling the truth, of course. But what Alphonse is saying, I experienced it. I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, everybody, it is a powerful day when you write your first affidavit and you put it in the mail and you realize, you know what, I have made my stand and I have taken the first step in taking back my personhood. Something happens inside of you. I don't know. And you're right, Alphonse. You got to be humble. You got to keep humble because this is such a strong thing. I cannot tell you how strong and powerful this is and how it affects you as an individual when you've been failing. You feel helpless. I don't have money for an attorney. I'm getting slammed. I'm getting cheated. I'm getting all this bad stuff. And I've used attorneys before, and I can't blame them all, but it didn't work out at all for me. It cost me a ton of money, and I lost. But this is the point: is you don't lose by standing up, telling the truth. You will not lose. In the end, no matter what happens, you're going to be a winner just by doing that, by realizing the power of your word, the spoken word of your mouth, which is what the New Testament, the Bible, is saying all the time.
What's that Bible? You're better with the Bible stuff than I am. Isn't there's a passage in there that states that the Creator said that if you come to me for help, I'll never turn my back on you?
Yeah, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And we have a father, basically a father figure that the Creator, yes, that loves us, put us in the beautiful Garden of Eden. We disobeyed, we messed it up. But he's trying to give it back to us. And he's using people like you, hopefully like me, and our viewers. And I thank the people that have been watching, writing good things here. And I'd like to do this again, maybe next Saturday, if we could work some time for you. But people will be attracted, and I pray they will see this is not the highfalutin. This is not the stuff, you know, that it's like Perry Mason. Oh, man, I never understand. I can't hardly understand the morning paper. Well, I don't understand the morning paper. I don't read the morning paper. There's no truth in that. But what you're saying is good for the fighting the bill collector, the unjust tax man. I mean, I'm in a case with inheritance. You know, I mean, people trying to cheat you. They're everywhere. They're coming to get you. But this wakes you up to realize you do have power. You have power. Right now, we still have power in America with our Constitution. I don't know how long we're going to have it. But while we have it, wake up and read the Constitution. It's not that hard to understand it, and it's not that long. But the Constitution, again, is not giving us anything, is it, Alphonse? It's only reiterating what we already have, and it's basically to tell the government the limits of the government, how far they can go, not about us. It's not, Bill of Rights doesn't give us any rights. It just enumerates part of what we already have, but what's not enumerated, it says we have them, the rest of them too. We have all of them.
Think about it this way. Before the Constitution was created, they did the Declaration of Independence. Before the Constitution was created, the people were sovereign, which means they were sort of kings. They were their own self-governments. Well, it states they ordained and established the Constitution for the United States of America. So they were sovereign before they created the Constitution.
Yeah.
They didn't give their sovereignty away when they created the Constitution. No. Why would they create something to give their rights away? They would never do that, okay? That's a ridiculous claim. But that's how these local governments will treat you. Like the Constitution grants you rights, and the Constitution gives them the right to do this to you. Then the question to them is, what evidence do you have that the Constitution applies to me? I don't swear an oath to the Constitution. Oops. You guys do. Oops. When you guys take office, why do you swear oaths to the Constitution?
Oops.
What's your reason? Because it don't apply to everybody. That's why. Applies to them. That's why they have to swear an oath to it. Otherwise, why would there be oaths to the Constitution? If the Constitution applied to everybody, why would they be swearing oaths to it? Because it doesn't apply to everybody. So it doesn't apply to me and you. And if it don't apply to me and you, it doesn't give them authority over us.
No, but they don't follow their own rule, and they don't remember what they swore to. They don't even do that.
They're criminals. They're criminals.
Well, we're just starting to wake up. But the good news is part of all of this big mess that's going on right now is people are starting to dust off the Constitution. You know, even the legislatures of the state, amazing. They don't seem to even get it, but they are quoting it. So they're starting to have to realize, yes, that is all about the states. And, you know, we're from the bottom up, our whole unique country. In order to get rid of the king, we made it the opposite. It's from the bottom up. And that starts with your local, your state, then your federal. But the federal has no business doing all of what it's trying.
Created can never be controlled by the creator. Man created government. Okay? Man's the creator. Government's the created. The created can never control the creator. Just like we can't control God. Okay, we can't control God. If I get mad at God, I can't do nothing to God. We can't control God. Government can't control you. And that's the dirty secret that they've been working to indoctrinate you and hide this from you through public school education, Catholic school education, whatever. They've been trying to indoctrinate you since you were a baby. This has been taught to you. And your family's done it to you. And not that they've done anything malicious to you, or it's just how they were brought up. It's how they were taught. This is how we do things. This is what you do. And sadly, we just stop questioning things. And you know, we got to start waking up and start questioning things. You know, when someone tells you they can have you do something or make you do something, your question should be, where did you get that authority? And put them on the spot, make them explain themselves. And it's really no more complicated than that. You want to investigate every claim made against you. If they tell you can only cross the street in the crosswalk, I'm going to ask, what evidence do you have of that? Cross the street anywhere I want. Where'd you get that authority to tell me where I got to cross the street? And it's always in some code book that some bunch of people got together and created these codes. Well, think about it. Like I told Ted before, if me and two of my other neighbors get together, can we go do things to my other neighbor? Can we impose laws on him? No. Okay. And if he got together with two other neighbors, he can't do it to me. It's the same thing what a legislature is. Just because some pinheads voted for these people called politicians doesn't mean I gave my rights away. If them people that voted for them, people called the politicians, if they want to live under their rules, God bless them. That's up to them. Doesn't mean I got to do it. You know, I don't have to give up my rights because a group of people voted for some other people to look after them, you know, to daddy them, to be mommy and daddy. I don't have to be a part of that. You know that. And nowhere in law does it state I have to be a part of that. So it's just common sense. And like I said, I highly recommend go get Mark Stevens' $10 book, Government Indicted, and that'll start to deprogram you That'll start to unwind your mind.
Thank you. Thank you. I love it. I love it. And thank you, Alphonse. And, I just wrapping up here, some people might wonder why I call myself Geronimo. Well, I have some Native American blood in me, but my dad was an Oklahoma cowboy. He was a businessman, a pilot, an entrepreneur. My mother was a scholar from Greece, born in Crete, the island, suffered under the Nazi invasion, killed her father, a soldier, defending him, and she lived under the Nazi occupation. My mom suffered depression, sleep. My whole life I lived with my mother. God rest her soul, but she was a brilliant person. She didn't let it defeat her. She got a PhD in America. She wrote books. She spoke 5 languages. She didn't let nothing defeat her. And I have a feeling Alphonse folks were very much like my mother, and it shows in him. And I just remembered, one time my mom, I was, whining and complaining about all the stuff going on. And she just looked at me and she said, "Fight for your country, fight for your country." And that's what I'm doing in my small way. I know, thank you, Alphonse, what you're doing. I flew airplanes. I'm just a pilot. I'm not qualified to speak on this, but this is something people got to talk about it. Somebody got to talk about it. I don't see many. So I thank God for Alphonse. Thank you for the viewers looking here, watching. Please tell your friends, spread this around. Hit the like button, subscribe button, all of that stuff. And please pass it around. We're starting out small, but I believe we're going to really gain momentum. The truth shall free, Jesus said. Also, my mom's speaking Greek. She could read the original. You would love this, Alphonse, but she could read Paul's original manuscript and she could understand it. And so the Bible says something way different than what a lot of the preachers on TV say. They really, it's scary to see them with a Greek dictionary trying to say what the Bible, it's not at all. But there's one passage in Luke, Jesus says, that the body, see, he said, where the body, the corpse, the corpus, where the body is, there the big birds gather. And they try to say it's eagles, but it's actually, I think it's buzzards, the vultures gather. And we know corporations, that those are bodies, those are the bodies. So I don't know, but it's all there. It's all there. If we have eyes to see, it's written, it's been given to us, and they're crying out with history, trying to get our attention. And that's, we're trying to listen. Maybe we can open our ears. Maybe we can read and help one another. And that's what's a blessing. You're doing it. You're the Good Samaritan. And like you say, do your own stuff first. Let's take care of each of ourselves first. One man wrote, he said, put your own life jacket on, then help the others. Yeah, you got to do your own stuff first. But once you get that going, then help the next guy. And this is what we need doing now. This is how we got to be a great nation, culture, civilization. And Lord willing, we'll stay that way. So can we do this again next week, Alphonse?
Sure.
All right. I think we got people already looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. And you're an awesome guy. God bless you. Thank you. Give us one last word here on the way out, please.
Just don't get down when you hear, we're going to force people to take vaccines or going to do this. Listen, just you worry about yourself. Get your own house in order. Get your stuff together. Learn how to take care of yourself. Learn about affidavits. Go watch the videos, 12 hours. Go watch Mark Stevens' videos. Go watch Bill Thornton's videos. And it'll start, you immerse yourself in this a little bit, it'll start to untangle for you. And you'll start to see the matrix of really what they're doing. And once you see the matrix, you get to see how powerless they actually really are. Yeah, they got the guns, okay? But they're also people. And when you can show them their liability and scare the hell out of them because you can take their homes, bank accounts, and businesses, they're going to start to back off you. They're going to go, oh, wait a minute. I didn't know this guy could do this, because guess what? No, not too many people are. And that's the problem. That's why we're in the situation we're in. So just start doing your little part, start getting involved, because the more of us that do this, we like that the movie Ants. I think that one guy says, if these dumb ants would ever figure out that, we're massively outnumbered, our way of life is done. And that's us. If we can sort of get together and start helping each other and taking action against these people and filing against them, well, guess what? Their way of life is done. And I'm sorry, I don't like their way of life at all. I hate what this country's become right now. I look at what these people are doing, with these people they killed half the small businesses in this country. Those people are never coming back. How many people they lost their businesses? How many people are going to lose their homes? How many people are going to lose their families? Suicides, they said, are skyrocketing because people's lives are being turned over for nothing, for a fake virus. So I don't like these people at all. And the more damage I can do to these people, the better. And I'm sorry, I'm of the Old Testament, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, eye for an eye. That's me. You know what? You're going to take my tooth? Well, I'm going to take two of yours. Until you back off and you learn how to be a human being, I'm going to take yours too. And we all got to do that.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Alphonse. Well, that's why I call it street law for a reason, but there is something powerful about the common law, and it's not common at all. But we're not done yet. We're not giving up. We're not throwing in the towel, and we're going to be back, Lord willing. We're going to be back again and do this again and talk about more of all of this thing. But just the one final thing is, yes, a man wrote here, the truth shall set you free. Well, the unrebutted affidavit stands as truth in the court of law. So we're going to go out on that truth. We'll see you soon. We love you. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you, Alphonse. Thank you for our viewers, David, JK, and many thousands more that are going to watch. God bless you. And we say aloha. Geronimo, over and out.